Well, hey, Gundam Maniacs, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. Well, here we are. Final episode of Witch from Mercury, although I want to say there should be more, right? Wouldn't there be more? I don't know. We'll find out after we get to the end of this. It's episode 24, May All Blessings Find Their Way to You. I'm Wishing It. What a title, right? What a title. You know what? And it's been a wild ride. It's been so fun going through this show with every one of you. All those comments I got, I'm going to miss the back and forth. But hey, before we get started, if you haven't, please subscribe. And if you think this is a cool video, give it a like. Check the links in the description for ways you could support the channel. Also, come join our Discord. We have a lot of fun there. Let's get started. All right. Leaving off right where we were before, we see the aerial rebuild destroyed. Eri had sort of blocked that giant laser cannon to like save everybody. It could have potentially killed her as well. And then we get the new bad guy that's kind of not really been around, so it's kind of like just a random bad guy so we can redeem everyone. Space Assembly League, they're like, let's shoot the cannon again and destroy them even more. And they're like, well, it's not ready yet. It's like, okay, we'll send out the mobile suits. So, like, yeah, they're really willing to go out and stop a superweapon, which makes sense, but these guys are being painted as the baddies now. So I guess Suletta, the permit score got too much for her, and it just sort of knocked her out. This is when she was grabbing the aerial. I guess maybe the team wanted to be able to do something with that, because I'm curious, like, what are they going to do here? Are they going to try to save Eri or stop Suletta's mom even further, but then they've got this giant laser that might be shooting at them. Okay, so it's interesting here because I guess Suletta going through what she did with that permit link, the data storm, it's taking a toll on her where she's like pretty much unconscious. Not dead yet, but it's pretty much like taken over her body. Kind of like what we saw with her mom. So it's something similar her mom had to go through. And she's back, but she's, I guess, saddened by what potentially could have happened, I guess, with her sister or her cloned genetic self in the data storm might have been killed by that giant laser because she was trying to save everybody. All right, and then back in the Quiet Zero plant or whatever, the Death Laser Star base thingy. I think there's a name for it. I'm sorry. I guess the other team members showed up and they're under, well, not arrest, but they're being held at gunpoint, I guess to round them up. So it's almost like there's like this quick like 3 faction thing going on because we have the Space Assembly that wants to just destroy this whole thing, and then within the base we have the Earthians / the students that want to be able to do good and stop Suletta's mom from initiating Quiet Zero and taking over the Earth sphere. And I guess the Space Assembly League is sort of in a way trying to justify everything, and I guess they kind of are, because I guess all this war on terrorism occurred due to the plans of Quiet Zero, and they're like, yeah, we need to take it out. So, I mean, I guess they're kind of doing their due diligence. Is that why they're kind of showing this bad guy, but they've never really built them up as a bad guy? So it's like, it's hard to really care or have any interest in what they are now making the villain. And, you know, what's weird with Delling, because they painted him as the bad guy, but as you go further, it's like, no, this dude really is a good guy. And then he's caught in between a bunch of stupidity. Everyone is acting stupid, and he's the smart one that's been leading a lot of the, you know, the corporations in space and trying to be careful with how technology is used. Like, I feel like he's really the real good guy here, just dealing with stupidity around him. Okay, so they got the rebuild aerial and they're saying we'll shift aerial's propulsion controls to the Caliburn. You know, one thing that's very interesting to me is, and this has showed up in the past few episodes, where it doesn't really explain these time jumps where these characters are doing things rather quickly, whether going from one location to another or getting a mobile suit rebuilt, prepared pretty quickly. But I think they're just hand waving that just to kind of move the plot forward, because we're getting near the end here and there hasn't really been much plot moving forward. And then Lauda shows up to kind of redeem him as well. Although, you know, I found that little story between him and Ghoul pretty cool that happened that last episode. But now, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter much. He kind of got over that quickly. But it's cool to see the mobile suits roll out here. And this is where I'm thinking, okay, what could they possibly be doing? We got this giant laser that could be firing off. It looks awesome, though. Gotta say, it looks awesome. I wonder how much of this is just 3D rendered artwork, which is fine, but it just looks really cool for, you know, the typical Gundam satellite to laser system. It's pretty cool. And so, yeah, they're still kind of held under gunpoint for how many hours does it take to repair Caliburn and the getting the rebuild propulsion system in there. I don't know. But during that time, look in the top right corner, you can see that Haro with the red eyes. I'm glad they added that in there. But they're assuming Suletta's going to come, and maybe that's what, Suletta's mom wants. So she's just standing by because she'll bring Aerie with her, perhaps. Okay, and then Suletta shows up, and I like, anytime they show like the HUD of a mobile suit, and it's like, doing the face tracking and zooming in on faces, and let's see, it says biocodes detected. It doesn't necessarily say their names underneath though. But that's just still kind of a cool little technology function of the mobile suit. And that's just a cool shot in general. Just again, I love artwork, especially when it comes to mecha. So just seeing stuff like this is always cool. And this is a neat sort of scene because it's Suletta's mom still standing up to Suletta and demanding her to act a certain way, saying, hand over the aerial. Now, I don't know if it's that she's desperate just to have her original daughter back, or it's that she wants to still carry out her plans with Quiet Zero. Either way, Suletta's standing up to her and just being like, no. I like how they did it. They took their time with the dialogue, with using inaction to kind of express intent. Well done, actually, there. And then this is, Suletta's mom trying to convince her. She takes off her helmet, shows like the damage, and you can kind of see where that's the similarity between Suletta and Prospera now, where they both have been affected by the Permet link to get them, damaged in some way. Okay, and then something is happening. Getting some cool classic Gundam vibes here, just with the way the Caliburn looks, honestly. And I love the yellow thrusters there and the shoulders too. That kind of helps tie in that classic look. Oh, and then one of the Elons show up to, I guess, and what they're explaining here is, I guess, their genetic code gets, I guess, sort of embedded into this digital layer of what exists within the data storm. So it's almost like another just world, another dimension where potentially beings can still communicate and talk to each other. The organoid archive of the enhanced humans is integrated here. So that's actually the specific dialogue to explain that. And, I've got to say, I can be wrong about this, but we're seeing a lot of cool animations that have to do with, when they're in the data storm and out of it, and seeing all the lines and geometry. And it reminds me of when we're playing SD Gundam Battle Alliance and you have to fight that character that's named Mercury, I forget his first name. And we see all this stuff around. I wonder if he's just supposed to be from this Switch from Mercury time period in SD Gundam Battle Alliance. I still haven't heard anything official about that yet, but it's still, there's something there, and I don't know. Okay, so this is cool. Something's going to happen here. I guess maybe this is almost like what we see in other Gundam shows, where sort of the essence of someone's soul within where new types can sort of communicate with. I guess they kind of come together and kind of empower a pilot or a new type in general. And then we're seeing a lot of cool rainbow effects. I think it's pretty interesting, like with the fact that this show is kind of trying to highlight that kind of same-sex relationship. And there's like a rainbow glow as like the winning glow for a unit. It's pretty cool. It's just that this what came out a day after Pride Month. But I mean, it doesn't matter. It should be Pride at all times anyway. But still, I just kind of a neat little thing. Okay, so now after that whole thing happened, the data storm appeared. It has kind of the rainbow effects. We're now seeing where the Ariel and Suletta and the Caliburn are exiting There's a name for this thing, right? Is it called Quiet Zero, the actual structure? And then she sort of just tosses her sister away. No, I guess she's trying to get her to wake up, and it's working. So it's interesting how this is like outside the established fiction that they're trying to portray here, that really anything can happen. It's getting into that fantastical realm, which, I guess that's just what this show is. It's not really abiding by any specific hard and fast rules, especially when it comes to either sci-fi, character development, or even who's a good or bad guy. And we might be seeing that at the end with how they do redemptions in the show. So that is cool, because like the rebuild area that Aries in just kind of lights up with the blue. It grabs all the bits and it comes and like forms into the Caliburn. You're so silly, Suletta. All right, and then we see, some of the parts come on. I like where they're going with this. So there's that Caliburn Gunpla that I guess is going up for pre-order. I wonder if it's like phase 1, phase 2, I guess because there's going to be these other versions, and then there's going to be with the different colors on it. So we'll see if we get multiples of those. Again, really cool, awesome look of having kind of that rainbowy design going on here, while even rebuilding the Caliburn to be, again, like the ultimate powered version of the main hero at the end. Hey, I might complain about the story, but I love the look here. Okay, and then it's like the data storm is changing now. I guess she's reached this like more powerful rainbow permet score, like infinity or something, and it's just spreading out. Again, no rules really to anything that's going on. And then people are detecting that there's no signs of attack here, so this isn't seen as a threat. And then, Mjolnir just walks up to the gun, puts her head on it, and then she's just like, we just need to rid the League of their motives, right? So I guess then that's what's going on, even though, the story's a little shaky here, but it's more of, the staff of the Quiet Zero system are just wanting to hold people hostage because now they, according to the Assembly League, are the bad guys. So I guess then what happens is over the intercom, Mjolnir's like expositioning that secretly, unknowing to anybody, we've kind of dissolved all the assets of these groups that would, be deemed the villains by the Space Assembly League, and then been given to the people on Earth. And I guess now the groups don't exist anymore. So that's what then can be the reasoning for them not to fire the laser. And then you see, people throughout the school and all that, I guess, also listening in on this broadcast, I guess, going around the whole Earth sphere. Even on Earth, see all the poor children among all the rubble. The evidence was received along with Shadiq Zanelli's written confession. So again, we're getting some quick, like within 30 seconds, here's a quick little thing that just happened off screen to kind of explain everything. And then wasn't that like a badass Earth character that we didn't really get to see much more of? I thought he was going to end up being like a main character along the rest of the protagonists, but that didn't happen. And then I guess one of the Elons just was secretly doing all of this behind the scenes during all that time period where people were held at gunpoint and they rebuilt the aerial and we're flying around in space. I don't know. It's this. I complain about the pacing of the show because it's usually slow to like go through the story, the characters, what's happening next. But this last 2 episodes is like bang, bang, bang. Here's things happening behind the scenes. Here's what really happened. And then that's it. And I guess really the purpose of this super data storm is to stop the laser from firing on them. That is a cool shot right there. That is a cool shot right there too. And then that is what essentially stops the laser. Just all the energy stuff happening. Kind of like a unicorn thing going on here. Or even Shark's counterattack with all that new type energy. With the lighting is actually very similar. And they just bring up she actually exceeded score 8. I guess that's the combined... again, they're kind of... There's really no explanation other than me making it up, because they don't really explain the rules here correctly. Suletta is the only one capable of raising every score. I mean, that's their way to explain it, but I mean, if we were to dive into that, could it just be the, how Suletta was made, created, built, the genetic components of her sister / her mom's original daughter? Maybe with Elon in there helping out, maybe a collection of souls of the genetic code of people within the data storm kind of combine to do this. Now that's pretty cool, especially because there was so much happening in the prologue that this show, the series didn't really expand on or touch on, but to be able to see her original husband, Suletta's dad, or I guess technically Suletta's dad, even though it's more Ares' dad, but yeah, you get it. And a lot of things going on, I guess, to make Suletta's mom think about what she's done and what she's gone through. Giving her their choice to, I guess, allow her own soul or genetic code to just be embedded into the data storm. I mean, it really makes me think right here, this is because Suletta's mom couldn't be redeemed, that she just, her essence gets into the data storm. And we're seeing things slowly dissolve apart. Like, look at that. I like the way that looks, too. It has that, like, rainbow effect colored to it, kind of dissolving it. Even the Caliburn. We just got this new mobile suit that's, like, badass with its, like, super awakening form, like you'd see from the unicorn. Yeah, and it's just dissolving away. I guess that's a cool way to have a super weapon destroyed. And we get this shot, and I'm assuming this means something. We just don't get that extra story about it. His wife, Ernie's mom. There's something to what happened in the last episode, but they never expand on it. This is very disappointing. So cool little touching scene here, because I guess we see Suletta's body just floating out there. You would think it would dissolve too. Mjolnir launches from Choo-Choo's Demi-Barden, if that's what it was, to go and save her. And then I guess Suletta's not waking up, so Mjolnir starts crying. I guess this is kind of a way to show that Mjolnir likes Suletta, even though they kind of strayed away from that for a little while. Now, this is funny. Like, she wakes up and she's like, answer me sooner, you idiot. Yeah, it sounds like Mjolnir for sure. Okay, so I was expecting, if they were to have another season, it would be a jump in the future. No, but they're actually doing it in this last episode. I tell you, the pacing of these last episodes are just flying by, just to try to fill in things that we've been waiting for. Nika gets out of prison. Do you think it was right for her to have to go to prison when she was kind of forced into the situation that she was in while already being suppressed for being an Earthian? I mean, that's a little weird, but kind of cool showing this other artwork, because this is stuff I like, kind of showing the sci-fi-ness of how the colony or the plants look. We got that team back together, which is pretty cool. Nice, beautiful scenery. Being part of that Elon story, which is pretty neat. And then I guess, Shadik's still in prison. Playing Quitter was one thing, but Quiet Zero was not your crime. So this is where it looks like how they explained it before. He's like confessing to everything. But why would he do that? Yeah, cool. Another little thing of technology where behind people's heads, they could wear some communication device. I wish you'd listen to your sister-in-law's advice. So are we confirming that they got married? And then there's this real quick, just showing how Lotto wants to be with Petra. Ghoul still doing his ghoul thing, and then showing the other Elon saying, yeah, I helped keep Astacasia open, didn't I? Help find new jobs. So again, we can see where this show is wrapping up just by giving it that happy ending. And then, we see where Mjolnir has come to Earth, I guess, because still a representative to try to make a change, to try to, make peace with Earth and Spatians. Okay, so this went by really fast due to having to read the subtitles. But public hearings into former Bennett management resume this year, with surviving families of Quinn Harbor and Quiet Zero victims still outraged. These matters will carry over into the next round. So, there are things that it's like, why are things still in the air? But at least they're saying this stuff is still being looked into. Whether that means there's going to be another season, I don't know. But luckily, this aspect of the world still hasn't been resolved, because it couldn't possibly be. And there's a lot of cool shots just showing other people around, I guess, on Earth. Why do we care about these crazy ladies still? I mean, not much has been explained about them. And then Mjolnir arrives somewhere at a field, and it's showing where Suletta is with some kids. So that's pretty cool, doing her school thing. She always wanted to build a school, so we kind of get that resolution of plot. But she's doing it on Earth. And they're really talking about how she's still physically damaged about what happened before when she went past 8, I guess, on that permit score. And she's regaining her mobility, her ability to move. We can see some crutches on the side there. That's probably helpful for her. And Suletta's mom. Suletta's mom is still out there and free. And despite all the murder she committed. Like, that's the part that's kind of weird here, how they just redeemed this character. Okay, I guess. But it's like, with all the other little things that are rushing through these final 2 episodes, ending on Suletta's mom being redeemed is kind of the strangest thing. Well, I don't get how you even exist. It's not like I do either. So, not even the people writing the story know that. And that's cool. As they're talking, like, these things light up, the little keychain Suletta got originally from Mjolnir. So, a nice little touch there. The one who transferred us from Ariel that day was definitely you, Suletta. So, that's cool. It's her sister is talking through that thing. I guess the data from the data storm was able to transfer her soul into a keychain, and she's like trapped there but can talk. I think it's weird and not completely explained, but I guess they're trying to resolve a good ending so that his mom is still okay, her daughter is still okay, and then Suletta and Mjolnir can get married. And the end. Happy ending there. And it does end with, this is where the story concludes, The Witch from Mercury. So I was really expecting more than just You could say one season, Crunchyroll, this is episode 24, but a lot of times in marketing it says season 2. But at the same time, man, did it really rush through the story? And it was really, really slow at the beginning. I'm really shocked and surprised. Well, anyway, there you have it. That's the last episode of Witch from Mercury, possibly the end. You know, at the end of the day, it has some awesome Gundam style mobile suits, action scenes. You know, and to be honest, this is kind of a different type of anime than I would typically watch. And I really was interested at the beginning, seeing the relationships develop between the characters. But then as time went, it just dragged on what we were expecting to happen next. And then it just kind of rushed, like tying all the loose ends, where it was hand waving a lot of the explanations, where it's like, yeah, it doesn't need to make sense, but hey, it's a happy ending, isn't it? I mean, that's what I got from it. I don't think, to me, it's right that, like, Nika went to prison, but Suletta's mom is, like, free. Like, what? That just, none of that makes sense to me. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think below. I mean, that's it for Witch from Mercury for now, I think, unless I'm going to plan to do something other than my reaction videos. You know, it really depends, because at the end of the day, when it comes to Gundam, this is probably at the bottom of my list of, like, my favorite Gundam, but I enjoyed going through it. It was my first time actually, while I had this channel, watching episodes of a Gundam series in real time with the rest of the Gundam community and talking about it. And I'll always do that, even if it's a Gundam show that I don't necessarily jive well with. I'll still want to talk about it. And while I will, critique it, I'm not going to be one to be toxic about it, because what I do appreciate is that Witch from Mercury really propelled Gundam recently, and we saw some stats. I think we talked about it on a live stream recently, where this show has helped kind of revitalize Gundam in a way, and that's great. That just means more Gundam. So anyway, guys, let me know what you think below. Thanks for watching. We'll talk later.